Hello and welcome. Another live stream, hopefully. I have zero feedback here other than levels, so hopefully everything sounds pretty good. And again, thanks for joining me. It's a Sunday afternoon where I am, just doing some, as you heard, a little more mellower things on the Mellotron. I'll walk through the setup here that I have on AUM. Essentially, it's the modern digital Mellotron, and I have a bunch of apps here on the iPad in AUM from audio damage. So from a signal chain perspective, the Mellotron M4000D Mini has a mono master analog output, which is going directly into a Focusrite Scarlett 18i8 interface, which communicates back and forth with the iPad Pro, with AUM, and all these audio damage apps, which I'll go through momentarily. And then after that, the output from the Focusrite goes into a Universal Audio Volt 276 interface, two-channel interface that goes into a MacBook Air that I'm using to do the streaming. So far, it seems to be working okay. My biggest issue is that because I have the iPad, there's like an ecosystem here for the music and an interface, and then the output from that goes to the computer. I can't share a screen yet at this point, so I have a different camera. I'll figure out something else, but these are meant to be a little more informal anyway. So why don't we start with the clean Mellotron sound? Let me get everything out of here. Again, all audio damage apps, except for one thing on the Mellotron, which I'll talk about at the end. Rough Rider compressor, very straightforward compressor. That's all I have on. So I'm using primarily two sounds here. The piano from actually a Chamberlin, the Chamberlin Music Master. Oh, I know. Okay, this could be dangerous. All right, I turned the interface off. I don't know why I did that. Let's try this again. So this is the just straight piano through a compressor, the Chamberlin Music Master. I chose this piano. There's three different pianos on the Mellotron, and this is the best sounding one. Obviously, it's a Mellotron piano. And then the other sound is the famous Mark II flute. And together, they sound like this. Let's stick with the piano for a moment here to demonstrate the effects, only because it's a percussive instrument, and that'll help hear the different effects. So besides all the effects from audio damage, we also do have Axon 2, which is a synthesized percussion application. I'll go through that after, but it is more than just the effects. Actually, if you saw a previous stream, I did with the bass a similar setup to this, but there was two instances of Axon 2. So this is just modified from that because I like the sounds. And we only need one Axon 2. Again, it's just trying to be a little mellow. So let's start here first with Quattromod. This is a modulation. I have this set up with just a phaser sound. And the mix is here on 20%. So I try to keep the mix fairly low with most effects. Well, you need to turn it on in AUM. We're talking really subtle. There's a little movement there. Let me try the flute. On, off. Little movement in the background. All right, and then I'm going to save the two instances of other desert cities. Then we have Dub Station 2, which is a delay. This is set really low, like 10%, just a little way in the background. And it's more of it kind of gets very diffused at the end. I'm trying to think. There's a I'm not prepared for this. There is, it's definitely not a space echo, and it's a little more than an echoplex. It reminds me of, there's a British delay from the 70s that was on a TC Electronics pedal that sounded close to this. Okay, enough of that. That's the delay. Then a little bit of reverb. Just have that on 2 for the mix. This is adverb 2, a plate reverb. So you can hear that. The reason it's so low is that there's kind of reverb on the original. Well, let me turn the delay off. There's a little bit of reverb on the original recording, and then you have a delay on, and then you put the reverb on, and you get a lot there. So the only non-audio damage app is Quantivox's Spatializer. I didn't use this on the bass stuff, but because the Mellotron is a mono instrument, it just sounds a little better to widen the stereo field. That's on, that's off, back on. Very subtle, but it's there. Now let's go to other desert cities. This is a patch that I created that actually sounds really cool on the kalimba. I did a video, and if I can remember to go back and edit this, I'll put a link there. But it actually makes the kalimba, adds chimes to it. It kind of does that here, but not, because I have 2 instances of the same exact patch I've made. But it's playing an octave above and an octave below is the additional note. So let me start with, is this the octave? This is the low octave. So let me start with this. You hear that secondary sound. It's really low. Here's the flute. Now here's the same patch, but that additional sound is an octave higher. So you get that kind of chimey, chimey, tinkly sound. Chinkly, if that's a word. However, chinkly doesn't really sound like chimes or tinkly. So. And the flute. And here's them both together. Let's go back to the piano. And these are set really low. We're talking mixes 15% on the low one and 10 on the high. So it doesn't overpower, it just kind of sits there, hovers in the background. And then the flute with both. Them together, piano and flute, 50-50 with all the effects. This is a nice sound. And that beginning jam is in D major. Let's move over to the percussion side. Let me just turn this on. So Axon 2. Let me turn everything off but Rough Rider. So the difference here is that Rough Rider's at the end of the chain. Turn this on. Let's get this over here. This is at a tempo of 90. Open this up. I'm not sure how much you can see, but there is kind of a visual representation of the pattern that I created. This is called Can 8. I don't know. I've had this app. This is one of the first apps I bought for the iPad when I decided to use the iPad for making music, and that was about 6 years ago. And it's still a great app. They have a newer version of it that has a lot more features, but there's something about this, that percussive synthesized sound that's very cool. All right, let's add the effects in. So here we've got yet again another instance of Dub Station. This one, the mix is at 20%. You get that ping-ponging back and forth to get even more of a rhythmic feel. For the reverb, I'm using EOS to the plate reverb, drums and reverb is problematic, but I just couldn't get a good sound with the plate. So even this one I'm not completely happy with standalone, but in the mix it works. So it just sounds, you know, very echoey in the reverb, but once you add in the other things, the piano and the flute, it dissipates a little. So that's the setup here. I'll just do another jam. Let me turn the microphone off, and hopefully I'll remember to turn the microphone on at the end. I did not last time, so I had to cut that bit out. All right, again, simple, just kind of a couple of sounds, lots of different effects, but as usual, you can get the big soundscape going with just a few effects and just simple notes. Mistakes here and there. I'm going to do a video at some point on mistakes because I make mistakes in everything, and I've been playing for well over 50 years, multiple instruments, and I started on keyboards, but even the funniest one is that pieces I've written a bunch of pieces for the kalimba over a year ago, and I've been trying to record them. And every single time that I do record, I always make too many mistakes. And I practice these pieces like once or twice a day, so I've practiced them like 400 or 500 times. But I always make a mistake. And even if somebody else doesn't hear it because it's a piece no one would have heard before, and the mistakes are in the same key because that's the way the kalimba is set up, but it's still like, oh, okay, so someday. But again, keeping it simple, you can always go back to that. Well, thanks for joining me. I hope this was enjoyable. If you make your own music, good luck with that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And hopefully you'll check out another video soon. Thank you.